You are looking at Tropical Storm Lee, which is spinning in the Atlantic Ocean as of Wednesday morning. The National Hurricane Center says it will strengthen into a hurricane this afternoon and will rapidly intensify into a major hurricane north of Puerto Rico this weekend. What about the U.S. East Coast? Is the storm heading there, or will it recurve out to sea? Hi guys, I'm John with New York Metro Weather. Today is Wednesday, September 6th. You're looking at Tropical Storm Lee. This is the latest visible satellite imagery of the system this afternoon. It's way out there in the Atlantic Ocean, but it has gotten itself together. Expected to strengthen into a hurricane later today or tonight. The timing of that still a little bit uncertain, but visually you can start to see a look of a system that's going to begin to strengthen soon. Still some dry air in here, and we'll have to see how it evolves over the next couple of hours. But the storm is expected to gradually strengthen. It is forecast to remain in anomalously warm water for the next couple of days. In fact, the environment will become even more favorable as it moves further north and west in the Atlantic Ocean in the next couple of days, and it encounters these warmer waters, lower wind shear, and great atmospheric conditions for outflow, which all help a tropical system strengthen. Here's the latest from the National Hurricane Center. You can see that they're explicitly forecasting this storm to be a hurricane by tonight, and then it strengthens into a Category 2 as we move later into the week. And then by the time we get to this weekend, NHC is forecasting a 150 mile an hour Category 4 to pass north of the Lesser Antilles and then north of Puerto Rico in some very, very warm water with very impressive oceanic heat content. So overall, the environment for Lee to strengthen into a major hurricane is very impressive. Now, the storm will pass north of Puerto Rico. It'll eventually pass north of Dominican Republic, and that part of the forecast is pretty straightforward. The strengthening, the intensity will always have some uncertainty to it, but given the environment that we have, given the conditions that are in place, looks pretty solid. This is likely to be a major hurricane. After that, the forecast gets really uncertain. If we look at the super ensemble, we talked about this yesterday, so this is all our favorite weather models, their ensembles combined into one graphic, and we roll it forward, there's decent agreement as to where this system will be when it is north of Lesser Antilles. Still some spread though, right? If you look at these individual members, there's still some spread as to where the storm will be. But once we take this out even further and we look at where the model suggests it will be on the evening of September 11th or the morning of September 12th, that's when we start to get a wider spread in possibilities as to where Lee is going to be located. If you look at the differences between where some of these ensemble members have it, what happens down the road, the potential impacts of the differences here are very large. We're looking at either something in the Bahamas or something already recurving way out into the Atlantic. So what I'm trying to get at here is this. What we're looking at here is almost 7 days away. 7 days from today when we're recording this video. And seeing this kind of spread, that should stop you in your tracks and say, okay, let's back up a second, because there's still a lot of uncertainty on the models a week from today. And even a week from today, it's still nowhere close to the United States. But let's get into what is causing this uncertainty and what we can look for in the next couple of days and learn from the weather models. So we're looking here at the mid-levels of the atmosphere, so several thousand feet above our head. And we're looking at the anomalies, so the departure from normal with those heights. So the oranges and reds are showing you ridging, anomalously high heights, and the blues are showing you troughing or anomalously low heights. So here's Lee. And what sticks out right away is that there is a ridge north of Lee, this orange and red area. This ridge is showing you that Lee is going to be steered this way. The air flows clockwise around these ridges. So Lee is going to be steered that way. Your air is flowing this way. And as it continues to go westward, that ridge sort of stays north of the storm. It doesn't allow Lee to shift northward. So Lee is guided here. But as we roll this forward, that ridging starts to weaken a little bit, right? It looked like this before. Now it looks like this on the ensembles. It's still there, but it's a little weaker. And so Lee is beginning to sort of escape a little bit northward. And at the same time, we have a trough, this blue here, appearing in the eastern United States. Now the air around these low pressures flows counterclockwise. So your air here is coming this way, and your air here is coming this way. So you have a squeeze play. Lee is being steered this way and this way. And that's why the models are showing it turning northward and heading up the coast. But exactly when that turn happens is going to be huge and critical to the impacts from Lee. We're looking here at vorticity, so this is spin in the atmosphere, and much of a similar sort of evolution here. You can see the ridge, you can see Lee being turned northward, but you still have this signal for some vorticity and troughing here in the east. And so what you start to consider is there's a variety of scenarios that could unfold here, right? Lee could turn very early and head way out to sea. It could turn somewhere in between and end up in eastern Canada, be scooped up by this trough, or it could be pushed a little further west and end up coming fairly close to the U.S. East Coast. All of these things are possibilities. Here's last night's 0Z European model, and you can see that it gets fairly close to the U.S. East Coast, and that's because it's on the left side of this envelope with when Lee starts to turn. So all of this is to say we need to watch very closely how Lee is going to turn northward, and this is a very convoluted pattern across the United States. You have some westerly flow here. You have a ridge to the east of Lee steering it northward eventually. You have all these different pieces. Look at all these different areas of vorticity, these troughs and upper level lows all around Lee. This is going to be a very convoluted forecast all the way up until the time that Lee is off the East Coast. So if you do live on the East Coast, pretty much anywhere, the only thing you need to do right now is just watch this closely. Watch Lee, keep an eye on the forecast, stay tuned for our latest videos, and we'll keep you in the loop on what's happening and where the storm is tracking. This is still 6 to 7 days from now, guys. So the system is still way down here, way in the Bahamas, and there's uncertainty even then as to where the storm will be. What we'll be watching for after that is what happens as Lee starts to turn northward. Is it blocked from going off to the east by this ridge? Is it going to get scooped up by this trough? Or is it just going to turn harmlessly out to sea? All those things still very much on the table, and it'll likely take us at least a couple days to start to hone in on this forecast. For now, we'll watch Lee. We'll watch it strengthen in the next couple of days as it passes north of the Lesser Antilles and Puerto Rico as a major hurricane this weekend. Stay tuned for more updates, and most importantly, guys, stay away from the hype and the forecasts that we're seeing all over TikTok and Instagram and Twitter that are hyping this up, saying it's coming into New Jersey, coming into New York. Just stick with the sources that you trust. Hopefully we're one of them. If not, that's fine. But we'll continue providing updates here that will break this down for you and keep you in the loop on the latest information. That's all for now. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching.